my name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, writing the book in real time. We are at chapter 31. Woo! All right, awesome. So I like this one a lot. I really do. Like, I think, what was it, last week's or the week before that you were really excited? No, baby. Our mascot just jumped up on my lap.
Oh, wait. Okay, we're going to do acting, and we're going to replay the moment before we started recording. And you're going to say, baby girl, you came to join podcast. Okay, we're going to start from there.
Okay,
No,
all right, got it. Okay, so I said, okay, nope, and look here, who's here just in time, and it's baby girl.
She came to record her podcast.
And I said, no, her paw.
No, we're supposed to do it like we're acting.
Damn it. Okay,
Don't
sorry.
Go back.
Okay. Go. Wait. Oh, damn it. Did I? Hold on. We're doing well. Wait. No, we're still going. Okay. Oh nope. And here she comes.
She came to record her podcast.
Her paw cast.
That took way too long to get to.
It's okay. We got it. We got there.
We did. Eventually we made it.
Oh my gosh. So glad to have you back with us.
That long to get to a bad pun.
That's what we do. Look, this is what we do. This is how we do. Okay. As a good friend once said, we're gonna do.
Just so you know, that friend was nowhere near sober.
Nah, not at all. So what's been going on in your life since I never see you anymore?
We do. We have big news. Should we do the event news?
What? Big news? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that they're both happening.
Well, no. Do we want to tell them before or after?
No, go ahead. I think this is great.
So no, we're confirmed. Yeah. So I am now
for the other one too.
So now I am confirmed for Philly Fan Expo and for the Geekdom Con, which is also right outside of
Philadelphia.
Yeah. So
the Oaks Convention Center or something. I forget. Mm-hmm. It's so fun. They're both great.
So Philly Fan Expo is more like a traditional con. It's like big, there are guests, things like that.
I got to go watch Alan Tudyk talk, as well as Adam Savage.
It was so cool.
It was awesome.
The Geekdom Con is a much smaller event, and it's a community run event, but because it is so small, they have like a Pokemon Go tournament. They have
You need to do that this year.
I know, I want to.
You
they
should.
have like a ping pong tournament.
Pinball
tournament. Like, they have really, really cool things. So they're very different events, but I love them both.
Yeah.
So that means that the events that are the big events that are official on the calendar right now are Philly Fan Expo.
Yes.
The Geekdom Con.
Yes.
Space Coast Book Lovers.
Yes.
And the
one in Tampa? Are we talking the one in September? Is that on the books yet?
I lost the name.
What? Once Upon a Con.
Once Upon a Con.
Yeah, which is happening at National Harbor.
All about the con. And I was like, no, that's the Geekdom Con.
It is kind of funny when you think about it, because we just named 3 that are in the Northeast, even though we are based in Orlando.
I know.
Yeah. But I mean, I love them all. In Space Coast, man, if y'all are into romance.
Oh, wait, I missed it. Orlando reads books too. So Philly
that
Fan
one.
Expo, the
I hope that happens this year.
Con,
Yeah.
Space Coast Book Lovers, Once Upon a Con, Orlando Reads Book. That's 5.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Ooh.
That's a lot. And hopefully Orlando Reads Books happens this year. We were supposed to go to it last year, but then this little thing happened called Hurricane Milton. So we
it got postponed to this year.
Yeah, which was very sad because it's really fun. It's a great group. But we'll see some of them at Space Coast. Yeah. So that is a good time. Okay, cool. Do you have any other orders of business that you wanted to talk about?
We're going to talk about the chapter art for this week after the chapter, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then no, I have no other business to attend to.
Okay, all right. So then that said, let's go ahead and introduce the beer of the week. And before we cheers with it, I'm actually going to show this one to the camera because I was like, I'm not going to remember all of these names. So this is from Innocent Gun, which is an Irish whiskey. So it is a Scottish oatmeal stout that has been... Oatmeal. Sorry, and get my Tennessee out there. But it has been aged 51 days in like an Irish whiskey cask It's a stout? What?
Now I'm a little afraid of it. I'm afraid it's going to be really.
It's actually because I was like, after I pour this, there's some hanging on to the rim of the beer can. I was like,
you licked it?
Yeah, and it's not bad. Like as somebody who is not the biggest stout fan, I was like, okay, I see you.
All right,
so we'll see. Let's dive into it.
Okay, but if it coats my teeth, we're gonna pause and go get something else.
It doesn't coat your teeth. Smell that. It's good. It's got a good smell.
It smells like a coat.
Okay.
Could coat my teeth.
It's a good thing it's just mainly me talking in the podcast. Am I right? I'm kidding.
Dude, the brain wants to aphasia today. Wait, why? I'm trying to cheers you and you're moving.
Because
your
we're still
mug away
talking and we
from me.
need that nice, clean clink. Are you ready?
All right, yes.
Okay. See how nice that is? I told you.
It tastes like it should coat my teeth, but it doesn't actually.
No, it doesn't. Oh, there's like a kind of there's a light, like crisp note on the end of it.
It's kind of like burnt caramel.
Yeah, or like sort of like the top of a creme brulee kind of thing. So it's
my creme brulee.
I don't know what that means, but
I'll
take it. So apparently this has notes of vanilla, coffee, and chocolate.
You're the best part, and all I want to do is crack you. I don't know what that means.
Send help. So yeah, I get the vanilla and I get the coffee. I'll have to go back for the chocolate and see. So while I am enjoying this lovely beverage, why don't you give us the last time on? Yes, please.
Previously on.
Do it, Brian. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead. I'm going to stop talking now. What?
I'm waiting for you to be quiet. You're a jerk. Okay. Previously on Sketchbook of Wayward Seer.
Oh, there's the chocolate.
After a nice little rendezvous in the organ loft of the local church during a teacher's funeral, Ella comes down to see Jason waiting for her and finds out that Evan and Haley found themselves in a not so encouraged in church situation. That's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she then decides to entrust Jason with some information about the cliff. Rather than continue to go it alone, she has decided to do the wise thing and lie. So she has told Jason that she met a photographer who showed her a picture of this beautiful cliff and was telling her how amazing it was, and it felt like there was this otherworldly presence. And now Ella has sketched it from memory, and she just really wants to see it in person. And of course, Jason wants to make her dreams come true. And of course, in order to make this happen, Paige Paxman has got involved, because that's what Paige Paxman does.
Well, we don't actually see her get involved. We just hear the promise from Jason.
Okay, in my heart.
Yeah.
In my heart, I wanted to write the Argo scene.
Yes.
Like, I wanted them to get to the Argo. I wanted them to have that corner.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted all of those things to happen.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I said to Megan, I was like, so this is, they're in the Argo. And Megan went, no, they're at school. I went, oh, I thought they were going to the Argo. So
I wanted to have time for the Argo, but then when I realized everything that has to happen,
Yes.
Non-negotiably.
Yes.
That was a scene that could be cut. And the thing is, maybe I'll write it out as like a cut scene or something that we can have for later.
Yeah.
Like, that would be really fun. But the fact of it was, like, it would be fun, but it was not fully necessary to move the plot forward. And we've got ground we've got to cover.
Yeah, no, I know. That's the truth. I do wonder, because you said that, you were like, maybe I'll write it as a cut scene or something. And I'm like, I wonder if we could do a director's cut. But it's not as though you've had a massive amount of time to write material that isn't necessary, right?
No, I mean, I definitely have a file on my computer. This is going to sound horrible.
Okay.
But because it is such a fast turnaround, instead of like taking my time and being like, no, do I love this passage? Should I keep it? I don't know. If I'm like, does it serve a purpose? Is it good? If it can't fit those, bye-bye. So I have been like slash and burning it out and just like, okay, is this information pivotal? Nope.
Yeah.
get it out. Is this actually like, can I say this shorter? Nope, cut it out.
Yeah.
And so I do have this huge file on my computer because in order to make myself feel like I can do that, I put it all in a cut file where it's all labeled by chapter and it's like cut from, cut from, cut from. So all of that exists, but none of it's in like big enough format to like.
Do you have any idea like how many words roughly that is? Any clue?
No idea.
Yeah, okay. Just curious. Okay, cool.
But we have to remember to tell people about the thing for this week.
Oh, don't worry. I have it. I have it on the notes. I got you.
Okay, I'm ready now.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't like say it like that because I do forget things quite frequently.
Yeah, we actually had a really hilarious talk today or yesterday, one of the days where I was like, wait a second. When I say, will you remember this for me? Do you write it down? And he's like,
I was like, no, which is hilarious because it mirrors a character in a show that we have been watching a lot lately. And it's like, oh, whoops, I should probably not be that person.
So I'm glad you wrote down the note.
Yeah, I did write down the note. Okay, so are we ready to go? Are we ready to do this?
On Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. Okay.
Wait, we already did that music. Sorry. Okay.
And begin.
Okay, thank you. I was like, are you looking for a way to say continue without saying continue again? Because you're so cute when you do that.
And begin. That means start reading.
Is that what that means? Okay, got it. I'm sorry. I'm an actor. I'm used to action. I'm kidding. They only do that on movie sets, and I've only done 3 films. Okay, ready? Then I present to you, everyone listening to the dulcet tones of my voice. Sorry, I'm just seeing how long I can stretch this out. All right, so I present to you Sketchbook. I am acting.
Okay, babe.
Sketchbook of a Wayward. Okay, I can't do this with you two.
You're the one who tried to break me.
And I succeeded.
Okay, wait, calming breath. Take a breath. No, we're being serious. Take a breath.
I'm fine.
And begin.
Got it. This is Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell, Chapter 31. Friday morning tally. Horrific nightmares, 1. Caleb kisses, 5/8. We hadn't actually kissed before he climbed out my window that morning. I'd stopped him, brushing my fingers against the back of his hand, buying myself an extra minute, thanking him for... Wow, boy, that's a record. I screwed up on paragraph 4. I'd stopped him, brushing my fingers against the back of his hand, buying myself an extra minute, thanking him for playing Ella Keeper for another night. He'd pressed a kiss to my forehead, his hand cradling the back of my neck, like I was precious. Worth him sleeping fully clothed in a sleeping bag on top of my comforter, meaning with my head on his shoulder and his arms wrapped around me, there were several layers between us from the chest down. An arrangement I'd managed to only minimally mock when he'd shown up with the sleeping bag the night after the organ loft. But the kiss on my forehead wasn't the 5/8 of a kiss. That came right after, when I tipped my chin up to look into his deep green eyes, and suddenly his lips were but a breath from mine. A tiny movement. That's all it would take to be kissing Caleb Clark. My chest burned and got too full, while at the same time a horde of butterflies took up residence. I forgot words, how they worked, that I knew any. My fingers buzzed with the need to touch him. His thumb grazed the sensitive spot just below my ear, sparking fire that danced across my skin. "I'll be back tonight," he whispered, his lips barely, maybe he hadn't even meant to, grazing mine as he said, "Be back." Longing dragged down my spine, flooding awareness into my body as my brain remembered one word: more. But Caleb stepped back and slipped out my window, leaving me, lips tingling, nerves thrumming, to watch him disappear into the early morning shadows of the trees behind Kate's house, which was somehow way the fuck hotter than him stopping for a proper kiss would have been, which led to me sitting in homeroom, daydreaming about what could have happened if Caleb hadn't left. Well, not quite. In the daydream, we weren't in Kate's house. We were somewhere hidden in the woods, where a dryad could thrive and no one could find me. or in one of Caleb's empty cabins. As long as it wasn't the one we'd already used for Sybil's shit, I never wanted to go back there. A different cabin, with a nice, wide fireplace. Flames casting their flickering glow across Caleb's perfect chest. A nice, thick rug in front of the fire. Imagining trailing my fingers down the muscular V at Caleb's hips distracted me from the finer points of the announcements about the memorial garden for Carver. Harrison had some chart for volunteer hours and who'd ditched school after Carver's funeral. Blah, 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 sign-ups, blah, blah, groups, blah, blah, committee, blah, giggity, blah. Wait, not giggity. Sorry, I went full on Family Guy there for a minute. Okay. Should I go back to the blah blahs?
That was your second Family Guy.
You're welcome.
All right, back to the blah blahs.
I can do another one if you want. Okay. Sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Signups, blah, blah. Groups, blah, blah. Committee, blah, giddy, blah, legacy. My focus didn't improve after homeroom. The way Caleb touched my cheek sometimes, or grazed his fingers down the side of my neck, so gentle, like I was a treasure made of spun glass, and the terror of his face strength hurting me reached all the way to the bottom of his soul. Picturing that feather-light caress trailing up my ribs to the side of my breast was, in fact, occupying so much of my being that when Paige said, "Do you mind?" my brain got stuck between two possible answers. One, no, Daydream Caleb is in no way disappointing, and anyone who thinks teenage girls never walk around school thinking about sex is a fucking idiot. Or two, yes, I am really fucking disappointed in my fucking mind for not getting its shit together more quickly so I can stop using Caleb as a security blanket and finally get to feel his real fucking hands on my real fucking ass. Thankfully, I wasn't lost enough to Lustland to give either of those answers. How do you mean? I cocked my head and furrowed my brow, my best guess at a safe response. Paige chewed her lips together. I glanced around, searching for the source of my potential disappointment, figuring out I'd daydreamed my way to Algebra II the heartbeat before realizing that meant Caleb was in the room. I looked past Paige to find Caleb at his seat, because somehow Daydream Caleb had distracted me from the presence of real Caleb, barely stopping myself from grinning at the sight of his glorious profile, saving myself by going for a confused lip purse, earning a wince from Paige. "I know I really pushed starting the cliff hunt this weekend," she said. "I feel awful bailing." Bailing? Bailing. Anxiety doused hormones. Bailing couldn't happen. Finding the fucking cliff had to happen. For the past 2 days, the visions had been tearing at me less because the search for the cliff was starting tomorrow. I'd been able to keep Violet from charging off into the forest on her own because the search for the cliff was starting tomorrow. Paige must have seen some version of that anxiety spiral in my eyes. Oh, wait. I think I said that wrong. Paige must have seen some version of that anxiety spiral in my eyes. Is what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. No, that was just a bad actor moment. Don't mind me. I'm taking a drink.
Did you just admit to being imperfect?
What? Are you kidding me? I admit to being imperfect all the time.
Yeah, but you did it on mic.
Yeah, I know. Haven't I done that before? Somebody check me on that. Okay.
I don't know. I have a bad memory. It feels momentous to me.
How? Okay, wait, hold
and
on.
Onward
No.
go.
Time out. How often do I say, I don't know, I'm probably wrong about this?
Well, yeah, but you did it on mic.
Well, yeah, I'm an open book. Sorry, no pun intended. Okay, going back.
Oh. Between that and the podcast.
Podcast, yeah. Okay. I've been able to keep Violet from charging off into the forest on her own because the search for the cliff was starting tomorrow. Paige must have seen some version of that anxiety spiral in my eyes. "If we start next Saturday, I promise we'll still have plenty of time to find the cliff and do an amazing photo shoot before Widow's Run weekend." Paige said it like she was calming a kid after switching out a promised hot fudge sundae for a scoop of freezer-burnt vanilla ice cream, which, of course, drew the attention of everyone in class. But hey, why not chat about the soon-to-be notorious photo op turned grisly discovery in front of everyone in Algebra II? Easier to keep the right lie going if the beginning of the tale is already planted in the gossipers' heads. Besides, shit always goes down in Algebra II. She's not wrong.
It's a dangerous class.
It is a dangerous class. You're not backing out of the hike. Violet said. Oh, fuck. The rumble of anger darkening the timbre of her voice silenced the whole fucking classroom. Even the substitute teacher, who'd been frantically flipping through the lesson plan at Dead Carver's desk since the start of class bell rang, froze. We made plans, Violet said. I couldn't tell if she didn't know or didn't care that half the room looked like they were either trying not to pass out or calculating the risk of bolting for the classroom door. Paige wasn't one of those wise people. I know postponing sucks, but if we don't show up for the planning meeting tomorrow, some asshats are going to put together a shitty design for the memorial garden, and we're all going to be stuck with it. Did you just admit to placing micromanaging others above honoring commitments to friends? Violet said. Someone in the back of the room gasped. Fluttery hair Haley started a slow clap. Shut the fuck up! Paige snapped at Haley. Right. The substitute teacher gave what could have been a decisive thump of his fist on the desk if a single student had bothered to acknowledge him. We should, start class. Violet, why is this a big deal? Sydney said. Because werewolves aren't known for their patience. All right, I want all eyes on the board. The substitute himself made no move towards said board. The search starts tomorrow. Violet locked a murdery glare on Paige. Paige's neck stiffened, but, to her credit, she managed not to flinch. Caring about things turning out well is not the same as micromanaging, Violet. Violet gripped the edge of her desk. Shit, fuck, shit. Violet, why don't you and I hike out tomorrow, just the two of us? As soon as I said the words, panic shot a zing from my asshole to my throat from the depth of my fuck-up. Nope, fuck, shit, fuck. There's a fix. Find the fix. Fuckity shit, fuck, find the fucking fix, Ella. We need your map, Archer, Violet said. No, Violet. Bad, Violet. And let's get started. The substitute started to stand. Map, Archer. A full fucking growl crept into Violet's voice. Someone in the back of class whimpered. I saw the whimpered word and I was like, wow, are people, pause. Are people, like, a lot of people genuinely terrified of Violet?
You don't fuck with Violet.
Sure. So
she is apparently very mad at someone.
Okay.
And you don't fuck with, why are you doing that?
Got it. I'm assuming there are stories there.
Yes.
Okay. Do we get to know those ever?
Potentially.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
We'll see if it comes up.
I'll leave it for right now. Okay, thank you. Map, Archer. A full fucking growl crept into Violet's voice. Someone in the back of class whimpered. The substitute plopped back into his seat like his knees had given out. I'll come with you. Jason faced Violet with a mask of unbothered calm that drove home these Laureldale fucks knowing each other since kindergarten in a way nothing else had. Harrison gave Ella and me both heroic exemptions from the memorial garden. For some odd fucking reason, receiving that shred of information sparked my brain hard enough to degunk the little cogs that make useful thought go. If Jason and I don't have to do gardening hours, then Violet, why don't you get yours done tomorrow while he and I take the maps to do a preliminary sweep? I said. Violet dragged her gaze from Jason to me. Under no fucking circumstances. That's enough! The substitute smacked the top of the desk with an open hand. Time to focus! No one fucking cared. I love the preliminary two-person sweep plan, Paige said. Good thinking, Ella. You're not going without me, Violet said. Fuck, Violet. Back down, Violet. The substitute clapped out a familiar student-silencing rhythm. I have done that myself far too often. Does it work? No. For a second it does, but then they just dissolve again. All right. 4 students bothered clapping back in response. You see? You see what I mean? Yeah, you know. Okay. I know you know. Everyone else was focused on Violet and me, eyes locked, me trying to tell her to fucking let it go and just agree with me, her glare, at least from my perspective, promising another broken nose if I didn't cave to her will. Eyes front, mouths shut. The substitute used his commanding voice. Now. Slowly, Very fucking slowly, with every student in the class watching, Violet tipped her chin down like a fucking pissed predator who would very much enjoy a late morning snack of fresh teacher entrails and turned to the substitute. No. The wolf's growl in her voice, while controlled enough to remain vaguely in the realm of possible for a human teenage girl, proved too much for the substitute. The color drained from the man's horror-filled face. He was going to collapse. I was completely sure he was going to collapse. And then Violet busted out laughing. Full-on cackling, her whole face involved in the show. Frightened whispers swept around the Carver-collapse traumatized class. I glanced to Caleb, needing his reaction to Violet swiping tears from her cheeks, hoping I'd see, Violet does this when she's stressed and we've all seen it before, rather than, oh fuck, Violet's going to snap and slaughter us all. Instead, finding him wide-eyed and magnificent lips pressed together, but with the corners slightly raised. I'd have guessed he was trying not to laugh, but you're fucking kidding me. The stench of real, actual feces reached me. Slowly. Honestly kind of hoping I'd slipped into a weird vision and this was not, in fact, my current reality. I looked back to the substitute. Sweat beaded on his brow. His breath came in small, panicked gasps. Violet had her forehead on the desk now, completely crumpled over in laughter. Giggles and mutters filled the room as the non-Aetherian noses caught the scent. Sydney, kind, quick-thinking Sydney, raised her hand. When students get way out of hand like this, going to get Principal Harrison and making him take over class is an absolutely understandable course of action. The substitute swallowed and opened his mouth to speak, then clamped his mouth shut and shifted his weight as though planning to take Sydney's advice and flee, but before he'd even begun to stand, his pallor grayed and he froze. Or... Is that enough dragging of or?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Sydney dragged out the word, buying herself thinking time. Or you could dismiss us for lunch early? Eyes terrified and unblinking, the substitute nodded. Not waiting for a verbal dismissal, the students grabbed their books and swarmed the door. I followed them, keeping to the back where I wouldn't be jostled, needing to get the hell out before I, too... Sorry, let me try that again. I followed them, keeping to the back where I wouldn't be jostled, needing to get the hell out before I, too, gave in to laughter. Violet! I called into the scrum in front of me, even though I couldn't actually see her past Andre and Jason. Wait for me! Sydney had stationed herself just inside the door like a security guard, waving the rest of the students out. Ella. I heard Caleb whisper behind me just before I reached Sydney, who held her hand out to stop me. Ella? Sydney's whisper held far less distress than Caleb's had. Try not to let Paige get into it with Violet. I'm going to go tell Nurse Thompson she's gotta have extra pants or something, right? I shrugged, made a who the fuck's to say face, and, following the sounds of Violet's laughter, turned left down the hall. I'm gonna pause again. I feel so bad for this sub. It's just...
But it's the reality of having these supernatural kids in class.
You know, come to think of it, it really is. And I don't know, like, do other supernatural, like, series ever have something like this?
I don't know. But, like, if you had a legit pissed werewolf in your class, you had never heard of, like, the Nicola kids get a little, sometimes. You just got to give them some space. Because keep in mind, like, she's the second Nicola. She's 2 of 3. So, like, people know, like, these Nicola kids just... Sometimes they need a calm down corner just to let him have a mo.
Calm down corner.
So he doesn't have any of this information.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it is the most realistic response.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. If I heard a wolf growl come out of a teenage girl, I would probably also defecate my pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like if a bear charges you.
Oh, yeah. True. Is that where you got the idea?
No, I just think that's, well, because I was like, what, like, she needs to freak out the substitute. And I'm like, well, what would the reality of this situation be?
Right. No, so true.
This is the reality of the situation.
Oh, man. Okay.
I couldn't have him pass out. The poor kids had been through that before. He couldn't hit the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the other possible reality of... a werewolf getting that mad at you when you're just trying to get through algebra as a substitute teacher.
Poor guy.
Well, and it's a small town, so it's not like there's like huge amount of like algebra subs running around.
No, sure. No, I would guess not.
And now he pooped himself and could never go back.
Poor guy.
Okay, continue. Oh, man, I did. Okay, continue.
You did it. Yay. Okay. I'm going to go back one line. I shrugged, made a who the fuck's to say face, and following the sounds of Violet's laughter, turned left down the hall. Most of the students kept moving once they'd reached freedom, scattering like they were afraid of being caught and dragged back into the cursed classroom. Of course, Paige, Andre, and Jason hadn't fled. They stood near Violet, who leaned against a locker, wiping fresh tears from her cheeks, trying for calming exhales, failing as laughter stole her breath. "Would you like to explain what the hell is wrong with you?" Paige spoke through locked teeth. "Did you miss me literally just scaring the shit out of the sub?" Violet laughed. "Because you used that fucked up horror movie growl on him." Paige stepped closer to the fucking werewolf. "What crawled up your ass today, Violet?" Shit. Violet's laughter ebbed, her eyes gaining a layer of menace for every hint of humor that faded. "No, really," Paige said. "Since we're friends now, I'd really like to know why the hell you lost your shit over postponing a hike." Because she's waited long enough. Because finding a murderer comes before gardening. Because werewolves aren't known for their fucking patience. "We all committed to helping Ella," Violet said. Sometimes I forget not all aitherions received their lying education from masters. Counting on exposure therapy for vision protection, I slid between Paige and Violet and hugged the angry werewolf. "You're such a good friend, but you don't have to be upset for my sake." I lowered my voice to whisper, "Hug me back and fucking agree with everything." Violet actually did what I asked. Shocking, I know. I gave her a final squeeze and stepped away, turning to face Paige with a sheepish grimace. "Sorry, it's my fault. We were talking last night, and I said I was really excited about hiking with everyone. And then we were talking about hiking in general, and I kind of went on a stupid tear about this one time my hiking plans got canceled, which was nothing like this, but the story ended with me having a minor breakdown involving a few minutes of tears." Paige's face fell. "Give them a fucking truth, Ella. Not everything has to be a lie, Ella." "But none of you are avoiding me because you're afraid I'll figure out you cheated on me and my father will literally kill you, so I'm fine with waiting until next weekend for the full team cliff hunt to start." I caught the beginning of a growl from Violet and risked my life digging my heel into her toes to shut her the fuck up. "Fuck cheaters," Paige said. "No, don't fuck cheaters. That is the opposite of good." I laughed, and Andre joined in with a low 3-beat chuckle. "Are you sure you don't mind waiting?" Paige's voice held an honest and kind offer I don't think Violet could ever have gotten out of her. "Not at all. You're a fuck, Ella. Least bad path, Ella. Better your ass than Violet's, Ella." "Jason, are you okay with the two of us getting started while everyone else does their volunteer time?" I leaned back onto Violet's toes as hard as I could. Hard enough, I would have been afraid of breaking a human friend's bones. "You can give me my intro to the Laureldale landscape?" I smiled at him, tossing in a hint of hope and a little dash of teasing. "That's a great idea!" Paige snapped her head toward Jason, the kind of cheer you don't question in her eyes as she lowered her voice. "You can try using the fancy map you procured." "Procured?" I said. Jason blushed. "What am I missing?" I glanced between him and Paige. "The difference between hard to access and illegal to have is a narrow line." He shrugged like he wasn't fucking bursting with pride over whatever he'd done. "The geohazard maps aren't classified. I just wouldn't have been able to download them without borrowing my dad's laptop while he was sleeping." If I hadn't been afraid of unpinning Violet's foot, I would have launched myself into his arms. "Not awful, Archer," Violet said. Guilt doused hope. The poor guy was eagerly contributing to proving his own dad was a dick who deserved nothing but loathing for ignoring a girl's disappearance because he'd decided she tainted Laureldale's perfection. "What time do you want to head out tomorrow?" I asked. The end of my question got lost under Nurse Thompson's, "Why are you loitering? This isn't a show!" as she strode toward us, Sydney scampering behind her, mouthing, "Go!" and shooing us away. Go? Going sounded great. Taking a moment to figure out how the hell I'd gone from the plan I'd wanted to the plan I'd already rejected and what steps I needed to take to minimize the damage caused by that change would be fantastic. I stepped away from Violet, aiming for the library, hoping she'd find her own calm-down corner to get her shit together, but she grabbed my arm, not hard enough to bruise, just an iron vise that promised it was either walk or be dragged, and headed in the opposite fucking direction. Following Paige, Jason, or even Sydney and Andre as the two held hands and stole away together seemed more appealing, but I didn't fancy getting my fucking arm broken, so I let Violet steer me along, not realizing I was being led to a secondary location like a kid aiding in their own kidnapping by skipping cheerfully along, following the promise of free candy, as we crossed through the patch of scorched staff room stink and past classrooms where students were still learning from their biohazard-free teachers, the mind-numbing drone of the lectures contrasting brilliantly with the waves of anger radiating from Violet. We turned down the little corridor behind the cafeteria kitchen, which smelled like either good goulash or bad tacos, and into a little niche with two doors. One with a polished little plaque that read, Food Service Director. The other, a taped-up yellow construction paper sign with Storage B written in black marker. Violet let go of my arm to pull her keys from her pocket. If you want to know why I'm right about tomorrow, you can put your keys away. I can explain it all in 10 words, I said. She unlocked the storage room door and swung it open. That's something I'd like to hear. The whisper came from behind me. Oh, whoops, that wasn't a whisper.
That was an acting choice.
You know what? Okay, all right, you do it. You go ahead. You do it. You're an actor.
That's something I'd like to hear.
You know, I definitely would not have recognized that as being Caleb, so good job. Well done. That's something I'd like to hear. Shut up. That's something I'd like to hear.
Wait. No, you have to do it like a book talk guy. That's something I'd like to hear.
Wait. What about book talk guys?
No, do it like one of those book talk sexy fae guys, but like, like what you'd like to hear is like.
Oh, okay, sure.
What you want to make it hear.
That's something I'd like to hear.
That's hilarious. Okay, that has nothing to do with this point in the story. I just wanted to make you do that. Okay.
The whisper came from behind me. Let's just continue onwards. Continuing onwards. That's something I'd like to hear.
No, okay, but like, do it for real though, because that's not what he said.
That's something I'd like to hear. The whisper came from behind me. Shut up, I feel you judging me. A jolt of fear punched through my chest as I spun toward the speaker. Caleb. Oh my God, it was Caleb. Who knew? Sorry. So first of all, I want to clarify something that you'll hear Megan and I will do this to each other all the time. And it's because we are best friends. And so with our other best friends, especially me with my other best friends, like we'll constantly be like, shut up, you're an idiot. And so I never want anybody to get the idea that we're like actually really mean to each other. Are you going to assist me in this, or are you just going to be awkwardly silent and make me sound like a douche?
Oh, no, I'm the one who's brutal. It's not you at
all. Yeah, but you know what? You have to be with me because I am just that golden retriever puppy, and you got to rein me in sometimes. This is rude. You're rude. Okay.
This is a new power I've discovered. I can just be silent and it's
it's not. I don't like it. I don't like
be silent and it's strange.
Of silence. Okay. That's something I'd like to hear. Is that better? Mm-hmm. The whisper came from behind me. A jolt of fear punched through my chest as I spun toward the speaker. Caleb. Sorry, I apologize. She took a drink of her beer and I wanted to make her have a spit take. Okay. I hadn't recognized his voice through the whatever just happened with the two of us. Man, that is brutal. I hate this new trick. Because the videos are never going out. No, I'm kidding. They will someday, or maybe. But she's just staring at me. And it's very uncomfortable and I'm sweating. I'm literally sweating. Stop it. I hadn't recognized his voice through the anger in his tone. Walk away, Caleb, Violet said. Fuck off, Violet, Caleb said. Violet pushed me through the door into Storage B. All kinds of weird shit that somehow made sense for a school to have lined the walls, some organized by type, blow up shamrock, blow up turkey, blow up ram, others by department, slinkies, flashlights, and noise-canceling headphones, and one shelf labeled, why can't we get rid of it, included a box marked glass vases, 4 stacks of masquerade masks, and a crate of wooden bananas. I didn't put down a note for this, so I'm going to make you talk about this now. Why wooden bananas, Megan? She turned to me and was like, did you get it? Did you get the wooden bananas? And I was like, no.
Because using real bananas in health class is wasteful. If you have wooden ones, you can reuse it.
She's talking about sex ed.
With the little condom.
She's talking about condoms, yeah. I don't remember them doing that. But then again, I went to school in Tennessee where it was like, anyway. Okay. So a crate of wooden bananas.
Wait, go back to why can't we get rid of it?
Okay, sorry. And one shelf labeled, why can't we get rid of it? Included a box marked glass vases, 4 stacks of masquerade masks, and a crate of wooden bananas. Lock the door, Violet said. And understand that if either of you exposes the vault, it's not me that'll be coming for your ass. Fine. Caleb locked the door. I didn't ask to be brought here, I said. I don't want to know about any vault. Violet cut past me to the metal cabinet that took up the center of the far wall. Do you want the 10-word explanation? I asked. Violet gripped the handle set into the side of the cabinet where a handle wouldn't normally be. Her muscles tensing like it took genuine exertion, and bracing her elbow against her side for extra leverage, she lifted the hulking metal beast and started pivoting it away from the wall. She only bothered making a person-sized gap before stepping aside and pointing me through. Trusting that Violet hadn't found whatever high school hell high school Narnia would look like, best guess you'd get tricked by sugar-free gummy bears instead of Turkish Delight, I slipped into the crack. A closed door blocked my path. The bit of light that reached me glinted off an old bronzy plaque. Storage B. Keep going, Violet said. Sorry, I said, just processing a hidden door inside the very human school. The light switch is to your right, Violet said. I opened the unlocked door and leaned through, fumbling across the right-hand wall at light switch height. You could have gone into your creepy hiding place first. And risk you fucking frolicking away on your own, Violet said. I stopped, my fingers on the as-yet unflipped switch. If you try to handcuff me, for fuck's sake, just move, Violet said. I flicked on the light. No handcuffs or cages in sight. There were, however, weapons that should very much never be allowed in a fucking school hanging on the far wall. The ceiling and all the walls, including the inside of the door, had been lined with black acoustic foam panels. A smallish armchair, 2 hip-high bookcases, one with books, board games, and snacks, the other with bins labeled things like first aid, fire kit, and cleaning supplies, a sitting poof, and a little 2-top table with matching chairs furnished the vault. All of it, even the copy of Into the Wild on the table, had a look of recent and purposeful use, like the book hadn't been tossed on the table, but carefully set aside so no one would tidy it away and risk the bookmark falling out. The weapons wall, which I tried not to think of as my favorite part, included a row of knives, 3 compact crossbows, a shelf of little canvas pouches, a coil of iron-splintered rope, and a shit-ton more goodies that made me wonder what the fuck had happened in Laureldale I didn't know about, because that's not a stash created by someone who doesn't know what it's like to fight for their fucking life. I wanted to touch all of it. Check the weight of the knives and read whatever the writing on the glass bottles with little wicks said, because I didn't actually know what the fuck those were. Badass, I whispered. How long has this been here? Caleb said. I glanced back to find him staring around the room like me, but with less wonder and more unsettled realization. Forever? Violet hoisted the cabinet back up by another metal handle, this one set in the back, and pivoted it closed, then shut and locked the normal door behind her, sealing us into the vault. Is the vault a werewolves-only lounge? I asked. Considering the 3 of us shouldn't be in any room together, yeah, Violet said. Since Laureldale Aitherions stopped mingling, the vault's been kept in the pack. We don't really know any of the other supernatural students. Handing your secrets to people you don't know is a great way to fuck your own ass. Lovely. I stepped aside, gesturing for Violet to pass, placing her closer to the weapons and me closer to the door. Violet didn't move. She stayed planted in front of the exit like she fucking knew I hated having my only escape blocked and was loving watching it itch my nerves. You know what, Ella? Violet said, enough substitute shit-causing anger in her voice to stop me from saying, What, Violet? I actually care about your safety, which apparently makes me a dumbass fuck since you don't seem to give a shit. Wait, what? I coughed a laugh. She tipped her chin down, but I couldn't find a fuck to give about her attacking me. I'm not the one throwing a tantrum about a hike and using their scary wolf voice in front of humans. I understand that weighing finding a murderer against gardening, finding a murderer is definitely the priority task. But to Paige, it's a choice between working on a memorial for a teacher or hanging out with friends. Acting like finding the cliff is life or death is a great way to fuck your own ass when people realize you were right. Playing with flowers while whoever killed Clara could be in the forest right now, I'm not done. I raised a hand, silencing her. Have you ever done anything like this before? Have you ever dealt with murder before? Do you understand how to trickle out information without the cops realizing we couldn't know the things we know unless we knew someone who'd witnessed the crime? So I'll keep my fucking mouth shut, Violet said. Even if I thought you were capable of staying quiet, you still can't be part of a trio that finds the cliff. I swallowed the venomous truth I wanted to shout, dragging my hands down my face, ramming my thoughts into the order that would do the least damage. There's a big difference between 6 people stumbling upon evidence in the forest and 3 people miraculously making the same find, especially when 2 of those people are Jason, the sheriff's son, and you, who has openly hated said sheriff because of the very crime we're dragging back up. Violet, your brother was Clara's boyfriend, and I know they weren't happy all the time. I saw Luca and Clara fighting. It was breakup level bad. If the sheriff finds out they ever got into it like that, how fast do you think Luca will cinch the prime suspect crown? Luca would never hurt Clara, Violet said, her growl deeper than she'd used on the substitute. I didn't care. You can't risk pulling more attention to Luca. Any hint of you leading Jason to the cliff would get twisted into you knowing where Clara was murdered because your brother killed her and you found out where. Violet went quiet. No growling, glaring, anything. Her stillness twisted a pang in my chest. There's three's too small a group to blend. I'm sorry. I meant it. Not sorry for laying out the reality we faced in a less than pleasant tone. Sorry for sidelining her. But it had to be done. My gut kept telling me tomorrow would be important, big enough to leave the kind of snag that could wrench some future Sybil into a vision. If I was right, and I probably fucking was, I couldn't let that monumental moment be Violet accidentally framing her brother for murder. I couldn't let Violet fucking up enough to get herself burned out of Laureldale be that moment either. You can't go out there with just Jason, Violet said. I don't love the idea of getting shoved into a 2-person spotlight, I said, but he's already fully invested in the photographer story. And if I get burned out of town, no one will cry when I run. This isn't just about finding a murder scene, Ella, Violet said. I'd preferred the growling to the fear-laced concern in Violet's now low, too-measured voice. A murderer killed an Aetherion in Laureldale, and if you're right, that same sick fuck also attacked Jason. You can't go into the forest where we know the monster has hunted before with only a human who's already been taken down once. You don't need to worry about us being attacked. The rest of my frustration-fueled anger cooled. Violet had already lost one friend to the monster/murderer. Murdering monster? Monstrous murderer? I could understand her fear of losing another. I could even find gratitude for her considering me someone worthy of fearing to lose. We'll be hiking in the middle of the day, and I'll make sure Jason and I don't get separated. I'll be there too. Caleb said it like a fact. I jolted at the sound of his voice, spinning toward him. I'd been so focused on Violet, Caleb's silent stillness had let me forget he'd entered the vault with us. He leaned against the black foam wall behind me. I hadn't been glancing back to check his expression, so I had no read on what he was thinking. You can't come on the hike, I said. People aren't even supposed to know we know each other. I'll trail behind. Jason will never see me. Because you won't be there, you are not following us. I spoke slowly, emphasizing each word. Yes. He pushed away from the wall to stand straight. I am. No, you're fucking not. I stepped closer to him. You have no alibi for the night Clara disappeared. Your house is in the same stretch of woods as Widow Tomic's. You're not getting anywhere near that cliff. I'll take the risk, Caleb said. If you're out there and have a vision, Jason can handle it. We're PTSD buds. And if something attacks, a human, even one Jason's size, won't be able to protect you. Guess I'll have to protect myself. I gave him a sarcastic shrug. Good thing I know which end of a knife to use for stabby time. This isn't funny, Caleb said. No, it's fucking self-defense, which, shockingly, my parents made sure their kid who deals with a lot of dark shit learned. That monster killed Clara, Violet said. I am agonizingly aware. She was a werewolf, Violet said. If she couldn't defend herself, Ella, you don't have a chance. All the ceiling tiles in my brain went click, click, click as they fell to the floor, revealing a mosaic titled, Don't You Fucking Dare. You two don't want me to go into the woods alone with Jason? I looked from Caleb to Violet. Whatever they saw on my face kept them quiet. Let's play a game. 5 fingers up, everybody. I held up my hand. They didn't. Never have I ever been in a real someone is trying to fucking kill me fight. I curled in my thumb. Never have I ever been stabbed. I curled in my pinky. Never have I ever stabbed someone. Another finger. Never have I ever watched someone I love die in combat. Another finger, leaving only the middle one standing. Never have I ever given you permission to make decisions about my safety. I moved closer to Violet, curling in my final finger as I gave a sweeping bow to get her out of my fucking path. She didn't move. I'm going with Jason. You two are staying in town. If you have a problem with that, you can feel free to step off this fucked up roller coaster. Now get out of my way. She stepped aside. I opened the door, ready to storm off, meeting the back of the cabinet that, based on Violet's exertion, I had no fucking chance of moving. A hand, Caleb's, touched my hip, shifting me out of the way so the big, strong Fae could free the helpless little Sybil. Boy, that chapter's intense. She has feelings.
She does have feelings.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you feel? Speaking of feelings, how do you feel about that chapter?
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I still have like this tumbling down the slope feeling of like, the end is nigh. Like that's how I feel inside.
Well, so like speaking to that, tomorrow feels like it's going to be a big day. So I'm assuming that we are now we're getting up to the climax of this book because it's happening tomorrow. If she's got to feel, she shrugs. Okay, people are getting this audio first. You can't just sit there and shrug.
But then you get to give them narration, which is even better.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So yes. Okay. So do you have anything else that you want to add before we go into some stuff?
No, so I'm not going to say exactly how many chapters it's supposed to be left because we all know I'm going to screw it up. No, I have it very carefully planned out and I'm going to screw it up. Well, not screw it up. I'm going to run down a fairy path of plants through the woods.
Yeah. And have fun. So to that point, how many books was The Tethering supposed to be?
3.
And how many books was Girl of Glass supposed to be?
3.
Yeah. When was it that you eventually realized that you were a 4-book author? Was it after Maggie or Bryant?
Maggie.
Yeah.
It was after Maggie Trent. I was like, I can't wrap anything up in 3 books. This is awful.
Yeah. All right. So sorry, you were going to say, were you going to pile on top of like prancing through the woods?
Ooh.
Okay. I apologize if for some reason I intervened when I shouldn't have. Or interjected when I shouldn't have. So I don't know if you meant to do this, but I love in the beginning of this when she's having these daydreams about Caleb that the presence of real Caleb does not distract her from daydream Caleb, but rather vice versa. And I was like, this is a very interesting mirroring of her visions in a way.
Yes.
Okay, so you did kind of mean that.
No, it's her distinction between real and not real is mirrored.
Okay.
But it's also Caleb's really good at not being noticed.
Sure. Yeah. Well, right.
He's a dryad.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at. So if he doesn't want you to see him, he's being coy in school. He's slipping by. In school, he's slipping by. He's trying not to flirt in public.
This was just, it's an interesting little thing about our past, but when you're talking about all the stuff that is in the vault, the little 2-top table with matching chairs furnish the vault. And I was like, 2-top table? What's a 2-top? And Megan's like, that like when you're seating people in a restaurant. And I was like, oh, right. We're both servers. I had completely forget because I haven't served in 2 years now, and it's been longer than that for you. So it's funny that you recalled that, and I was like, huh?
No, but it's also, so Ella grew up in bars.
Yes, right.
She's always been around bars.
Yes.
But also, who has most recently renovated the vault? The Nicolaiks.
Yeah. So, who own a bar.
So they're going to have a two-top table.
I didn't even think about that.
Like, it's restaurant people.
See, and it's little tiny nuggets of detail like that are just so fun. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I saw Paul come out from under the closet door, and I was like, no! But no, it wasn't. All of it, even the copy of Into the Wild. Explain why. Okay, so first of all, tell them what Into the Wild is.
Into the Wild is the book that is Chris McCandless.
Chris McCandless, something, yeah.
It's his journal from when he decided he was going to hitchhike out into the wild in Alaska and like walk out there with like some rice in his bag and no topographical map. And he ended up getting himself killed because he did not prepare in any way. So imagine.
Well, and wasn't even the trucker tried to convince him the entire way down.
The trucker gave him his shoes. Boots.
Yeah, gave him his boots. But he tried to convince him the whole time they were driving. He's like, please don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do. So like I love. Sorry, I'm going to get this off of my chest real quick, and I'm going to leave it alone, and I'll let you continue. But people are like, but like, look at what he did. Like he was so brave. I'm like, no, he's an idiot. I'm sorry. Like to speak ill of the dead, but the guy was a freaking idiot. Like when people are telling you who live in Alaska, because he wasn't from Alaska,
no.
But people who live in Alaska, they will be very honest with you and tell you Alaska wants to kill you. Case in point. Period. So the fact that he didn't listen. Even though this trucker is like, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't. Like he just what? Okay, whatever. Anyway,
but imagine being a younger high school werewolf boy who is like made to be feral and hunt. And you're reading this book about this dude who was like, I'm going to eat rice in the wild. And you're like, LOL, you didn't know how to preserve meat, so you die.
Yep, and that's just so that is how the book ends. Spoiler alert. Sorry, we probably should have given that up front, but it's an old enough book now. But he ends up eating mushrooms, right? That if he had been able to preserve the moose carcass that he killed. Yeah. Was it caribou or moose?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it was some large
Basically, it's mammal. Because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Correct. He died. But because you don't try like that. No. Try shit like that if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
No, especially not in Alaska.
No.
Alaska is more than twice the size of Texas. Like people forget how big it is. It's huge. And also he made his way over a river that is usually pretty impossible to cross. So the fact that he crossed it, he
check a map and know that he wasn't going to be able to go back.
Well, and not only that, but if he had gone south far enough, there was actually a little line that he could have taken to get off of the island that he was on.
You know why that's why you have a good map. You know what they're working on in this book?
A map.
They're going to have some maps.
That's true.
Because they are not dumbasses.
So I love how you figured this out. And Megan was like, wait, why do you have that highlighted? And I was like, because podcast. And she went, oh, is it because it's, and I said, we're not talking about this right now. Podcast. The iron splintered rope. Anyone want to take that one? What does that sound like? The iron snarl that they talk about in the game?
Well, okay, here's the thing. If you look at iron, and iron is meant to be something that contains supernatural.
Oh, right. I forget about that. It is.
Yes, but the thing is, having a whole iron thing isn't going to work.
Okay.
But if you have little splinters of iron in your rope, even though it's going to be heavy as hell, and it's not going to be as effective, it would do you some good. So you don't have to have straight up shackles. Like you could bind someone to a pillar with it, and if they can't pass through iron, they can't get their body through it.
So is that all supernaturals, like witches?
No, that's more like demons and things.
Oh,
like,
okay.
There are different things that can contain different creatures.
Okay. Would that work on a banshee? Do you know?
I would have to look back at my notes.
Okay, because you haven't had to encounter one of those yet.
I don't think that works on banshees.
Okay.
I think it is more specifically because Banshee Spectre-esque But like,
Right.
So I would have to like look at the detailed notes more carefully.
Okay, so I did like talk through pretty much everything as we were going this time. I was just like, oh, I want to talk about this. So thank you for dealing with my... You are
in such a chatty mood.
I'm a chatty Cathy right now. I was taking up Meanie's post since she left so early. We didn't have a chatty Catty, so you got a chatty Cathy. Yeah. Okay. So I want to now end this with talking about what you wanted to discuss about the blog that's going up this week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So...
Which we're not telling the story.
No.
But explain.
But in the kind of merciless cutting that I have to do because I am writing and editing these chapters and turning around things so fast, I have to be kind of merciless with like this 200 words does not need to be in this moment. It is not serving the plot. It is just bringing me joy. Like, we have to keep moving. And so there is a story behind Ella's ex who cheated. Mm-hmm. And the story was meant to be in this chapter.
Right.
And it's not like this huge elaborate thing, but it's just like this ex who cheated. And that was meant to be here, but I couldn't keep it here because this chapter had other things that were much more pivotal to the plot. But so as my little Laureldale Universe blog post for this week, I will in fact be sharing the story of
Ella's
ex. And it will be shared in a unique non-Ella voice kind of way. Mm-hmm. That fits with the other blog posts. If you've read them, you probably know what I mean. But yeah, so go on over to the Substack and check out the blog post that is coming up this week because it will have the story of Ella's ex.
Y'all, if you've been enjoying the podcast, and I'm sure that you have, otherwise you wouldn't still be here with us. So thank you for being here. But you will enjoy the blog posts. Like it's such a great way to do a deep dive into the world in digestible snippets.
Yeah, I think the longest one has been like 250 words.
Yeah, they're not long.
So they're really short.
Yeah,
but it's just like little information tidbits that I want to start compiling into a more readable format so that they are all indexed together. But for now, it is just giving those bits of world building that I would love to get to share. And when I'm writing a normal project like the Algebra books, I have nowhere to put them where people can see them. But because I do have page-by-page podcast and I do have the blog on Substack and all those other things, I can actually share what happened when Ella's dad found out her ex cheated.
You know what's funny is that you just outed a bit that we didn't actually have in here because she says, afraid that my dad will find out and will kill you if he finds out. So he does find out. Ooh, boy.
Oh, he finds out.
Oh, no. And he's a full-blown werewolf.
And he's Gale Pack.
Yeah. Gale Pack.
No, it's closer to Gale.
Gale. It's been a while since that chapter.
It's not Gael. It's
no, not Gael.
It's like you're trying to say Gale. But you're not
Gale.
Yes.
Gale.
There you go.
It is such a subtle distinction. All right, cool.
I know. Language is hard.
Language is hard.
Is there anything else you wanted to say? We talked about the events that we have coming up.
We did. No.
You gave bad puns. We talked about the blog post that is coming up.
Good. I'm glad that I at least got that. I got that one. So add that to your bingo card. Bad puns.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I do know that because I'm going to share this news eventually on the podcast when I'm able to, but I'm a step closer to being able to share that news because I got a phone call from somebody that was very exciting.
I swear, people think you're moving to Mars or
I'm moving to Mars. No, I'm not. No. No, I'm going to stop. I was going to say something.
Alonzo.
All right. So then
hurdle. Everyone, why don't you like, follow, share, subscribe? No, but seriously, if you like and leave comments or reviews or whatever it is on your preferred podcast platform, that helps the algorithms let people know that you like us so they could recommend us to other people, which helps this whole fun community with Page by Page podcast grow. So please do like, follow, share, subscribe, all of those things. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's it.
I think that is it. So yeah, until next time, stay safe and sane out there. And thank you for reading.